Welcome to Back at Camp, Mojave County's only outdoor television show. I'm your host, Captain Don Martin, and on today's show, we're going to have a special guest. We're going to have Phil Halseth from Yuma, and she's going to tell you about a recent overnight striper fishing trip that she had with myself and a couple of local guys. We had a great time, a lot of fun. Don't go away. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Welcome back to Back at Camp. I'm your host, Captain Don Martin. With me on the show today is Phil Halseth from Yuma. Phil, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Phil, now, you and I and Johnny Hoff and Gary McGregor recently went on an overnight fishing trip out of South Cove as part of a trip for striper hunters. Now, let's talk a little bit about how you happened to get involved with this. Last year, 2012, you came up with a friend of yours, Sherry Appleby, and some of her grandkids, and you were along, and that was your first fishing trip in 60 years.
That's right.
And how did you do?
I think I did well. I caught some nice fish. I had the biggest fish for most of the evening until you caught one bigger. And I did accuse you of having that fish under the boat, just so you would have the bigger fish.
Well, we had a little wager.
I know
on
it.
who was going to catch the big
I
fish.
wanted to win.
And we couldn't let a newbie outfish the captain.
I know.
So, but that was an exciting trip with you and Sherry and the girls.
Yes.
We caught a lot of fish that night.
We did.
Like I say, I know we have a photo of you with a really nice fish, and you were in the running till about 3:30 when I managed to have the scuba diver hook up that little bit bigger fish.
Yes.
And I was able to bring it in, and therefore I won.
I know, you got all those $5. That was nice.
Yeah, I was collecting $5 bills like candy.
I know it.
So you had that trip last year. Sherry took back a ton of fillets.
She did.
And we've talked off and on since that time, and you indicated that you wanted to go on another trip. So we set up a trip and had a couple of friends of mine, Johnny Hoff and his father-in-law, Gary McGregor. And so we set up a trip for you, working with the schedules, and we went out and you drove up from Yuma. How long does it take you to get here?
It takes almost 5 hours.
Wow. So you drove up from Yuma, met us here in Kingman. We went up to the El Campo de Pescado there in Meadview, where I do my fishing operation. And you got ready to go. You were kind of excited.
I was excited, and I'm not the most graceful person. I think you found that out.
Well, yeah, but you mind sharing with the audience how old you are?
I'm 75, and my birthday's next month. If anybody wants to send cards.
They could send it to you, care of the homeless and you.
Yes, that would be fine.
That would be fine.
Yeah.
So so we got set up. This is your second trip in 60 years.
Yes.
Okay, and so Johnny wanted to check out their boat, so we took the jet boat, and Johnny had his pontoon boat. The plan was we're going to fish together during the night, just in case they had any problems with their boat or we had any problems or whatever. And so it was a beautiful night.
It was beautiful, calm.
The
nice.
wind wasn't blowing.
Warm.
It was very calm. It was comfortable. I mean,
shorts weather. Yeah, shorts weather.
Short weather, that's for sure. So, we backed the boat in, got the boat going, and you took the truck up, parked the truck up in the parking lot. Mm-hmm. So, ladies need to understand, they can park the vehicle.
I did a good job.
You didn't hit nothing.
I didn't. There wasn't anybody else in the parking lot.
Oh, well,
that
there
helped.
you go.
Yeah, that did help, yes.
Okay. So then you came back down, and I got the boat up there by the dock, and you come walking out, we put the life jackets on, and so what happened then?
Then you just said, step onto the front of the boat. Just come on, hurry. So I stepped on the front of the boat, and there was a big fat cord there, and I managed to hook my foot on it, and I just went face first right into the boat. Very, very lovely,
It wasn't graceful.
No, I suppose not. All I knew was I was heading for the bottom of the boat, and hit a couple things, and I got a few bruises and a little bit of blood, and
And this is before we even got away from the dock.
We're still at the dock.
And I mean, I looked up, and here's my official person laying on her back, looking straight up at the sky. There are a lot of nice stars.
I was seeing extra stars.
Yeah, and of course I was a little alarmed and asked if you were okay.
Yeah, such
And,
concern.
Yeah, I was concerned.
I could see that. I was thinking about the blood hitting the floor is probably what it
Well,
was.
because you know we were going to have to clean the boat
I know,
later,
I
so
know.
you know.
And
if
it's
you're-
not fish guts.
Yeah, with the other stuff. So we got you in there. We got you back upright. You were okay,
Right.
except for little bumps and bruises.
Right.
Shed a little blood from a little
Yeah.
cut on the hand, and away we went. And we met Johnny in a cove, and we got everything set up about what the duties were. Your duties was to hold the oar.
I didn't get that. I didn't get the duties till later.
Oh, later.
Yes.
And you know that you're supposed to hold the oar to keep the boat from going into the rocks.
No, you did. You told me that later.
That was
After we hit the
After
rocks.
we hit the
Right,
rocks,
right,
okay.
yeah.
But we got it okay.
Right.
And we got the boat set up. We turned on the graft. There was tons of fish underneath us. Johnny's hooked up right next to us, him and Gary. And we put out our lights. We start chumming and get the poles out. And who got the first bite?
Maybe you got the first bite.
I did. I got 2 bites, 1 bite on each pole, and we hadn't been there 5 minutes. And I said, well, that's a good sign. Of course, I didn't get to hook the fish because I was messing around with other stuff. And so we sat there for a little bit, and a few minutes later, what happened, Will, on your pole?
My pole jiggled, and I did exactly like you said.
Really? And,
No.
and what's that?
Jerk it twice.
No, don't jerk it twice. Jerk it once,
Oh.
but jerk it with authority.
Right.
Raise
Well-
it up and reel it.
Whatever I did, I got a fish.
You caught a
And it
nice
just-
striper.
And it's beautiful, and that was so much fun. And
And Johnny
was-
and Gary were watching.
yeah, and I had the first fish,
First fish of the trip.
and it was a big fish.
It was a good sized fish, yeah.
Yes, it was. So
And so we got that one in the ice chest.
I didn't hit you in the face with that when I brought it in.
That
did I?
one you didn't.
No.
No, that would be later on. That
Yeah,
happens.
yeah.
So Johnny's sitting over there, and we're watching them, and maybe an hour into the trip, they finally catch one fish.
Right.
I think Gary gets a nice striper.
Now we got 2 fish.
So we got 2 fish.
Yeah.
And we started fishing about 8 o'clock, 8:30. And how many fish did we catch up till 11:30?
Oh, I think 2.
Yours and Gary. So I said, we need to move. So we moved to another spot
Right.
and got set up. And Johnny decided to fish
Over there.
across from us. And so him and Gary got set up. We got set up. Got the lights set, anchor set. Beautiful, beautiful night. We sat there for a while. And then finally, about 2 o'clock, we'd been there for a couple hours, pretty slow. You were getting bites, but I couldn't catch it. I couldn't get a bite on a bed. But at 2 o'clock, things picked up.
Right.
And we
Right.
started catching fish. And you actually caught a real nice
Yes, I
fish.
did.
It was over 2 pounds. Biggest fish you've probably ever caught.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. But we had from 2 o'clock on, we had some exciting times.
We had exciting. I'm not going to say it was fun. It was exciting.
Yeah, because I think of it one time, or several times actually, when you let the fish swim down the side of the boat and it collects all the rods.
I didn't know that wasn't my fault.
Oh, that wasn't your fault.
No, it
even
was
though
the
that
fish.
was your fish and
No,
your
the fish wanted to go that way, so he did.
and you didn't think of
I don't know how to steer a fish.
That's right. And what we ended up with was 4 lines tangled in a big ball of monofilament
That was so
that
pretty.
resulted. It was so cute.
Yeah, it was.
Which resulted in me having to cut every line and redo them.
Right.
Right. Okay. And then I know one time you were having me bait your pole, and your other pole was going crazy. And while I'm sitting there trying to put bait on your hook, you decided to put that pole away. And in doing so, a 3/0 hook went perilously close to my face and almost got me. And then there was one time where you're swinging a fish in, and I'm trying to help you, and it comes by, and you try to give me a love tap with a striper. So, But we did good.
Yes, I did learn some new words I didn't know.
Really.
When
And-
that ball of wire or the
Monofilament?
string, yeah, when that was like that,
Yeah.
I heard a couple words I hadn't heard.
You hadn't heard before?
No, and when I heard those,
Now that we designated that though about how to do the jerking and
Yes.
and I think we ended up calling it lesson 69.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. So I
because
don't
that
have
was-
to listen. If he wants to tell me again, just say lesson 69. I know the whole thing. Just jerk it once and you'll get the
Yeah,
fish.
see that, and the reason we call it that is because I think I told you 69 times.
I think so.
During the evening.
And
when
several-
you were getting bites left and right, and you were doing this thing instead of one giant jerk and reel. If you had we would have probably caught hundreds of fish.
Shoot.
You were getting bites like crazy, and I'm just sitting there. Now, eventually, I started catching up. So,
Yeah.
but that worked out good. But we got a good ice chest full of fish. Johnny and Gary McGregor caught an ice chest full of fish. And how many fish did we end up with?
We ended up with 69 stripers and 2 catfish.
Okay, so we ended up with 71 fish during that trip. Big fish was either yours or Johnny's. It was 2.43 pounds. We had one at 2.43, one at 2.33, so pretty close there. Your best 10 fish for the evening weighed 18.58 pounds, and your big 40, your best 40 fish out of the 71 weighed 52.34 pounds. Now, so now we got a boatload of fish. People are looking at pictures of all these stripers we got. We got pictures at the house. We got pictures of us. We got to clean these fish.
Oh.
Isn't that fun? I mean,
That is
really.
such fun.
Now, what we're going to do in the second part of the show, we're actually going to clean some stripers on the set down here at the Kachina Kitchen. You're going to be my helper just like you were yesterday, and we're going to clean these fish. Folks, we're going to show you how to fillet a striper in under 21 seconds. My able assistant here is going to show you how to take the ribs out of them so you end up with boneless fillet striper. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Welcome back to Back at Camp. I'm your host, Captain Don Martin. Now, in this segment of the show, we're actually going to show you how to fillet a striped bass. Now, what I want to show you is these are different electric fishing knives that I've used in the past to fillet catches. This one here is a Mr. Twister electric fillet knife. This one was made by Storm, and this was a really good one, but they don't make it anymore. And this one was made by Cabela's. Now, since that time, this is the one of choice right here. This is manufactured by Rapala, or Rapala, whatever you want to call it, and it's got the small, short blades in it. And this, I'm telling you, for the money, is the best electric fish knife that I know of. Like I say, I buy them off the internet, and they're a lot cheaper than buying them anywhere else. But this is what we're going to use today to show you how to fillet your catch. Now, the first thing I recommend is, you got to have a place to clean these fish, and you want to get some boards out here, plastic cutting boards, and I suggest that you put on these gloves. Now, these are made by Berkeley, and these help you grip the fish because they can be slimy. Now, all your fish should be kept on ice. Don't ever take fish and put them in an ice chest with no ice, because if you do, they're going to come out bad. But we keep all of our fish here on ice in the boat, and when we bring them in, they're good and cold. We ice them again, and then we get ready to clean them. So we've already cleaned a whole bunch of these fish.
We have.
But we're going to show you the fish that she caught, and we're going to show you how we're going to fillet them, and they're ready to eat then. First thing I want to do is I'm going to take out a couple of the fish that she caught. If you want to hold those up, there you go. Here you go.
I hold them both.
Yeah, you caught them. So
Okay.
These are two of the stripers that she caught on this trip the other night. As you can see, those are nice sized fish. But for this demonstration, we're going to show you the different kinds and sizes. Now, I'm going to tell you something. For my money, this is the best eaten fish right here. And you'll see when we get these fillets off. But these are all different age classes of stripers on Lake Mead. This is what you're going to see. This is what you're going to catch when you're out there on Lake Mead. These are older fish right here. And you can see the difference even in the girth of those fish. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how we clean these fish. And I'm going to start with the little ones first. We'll save the big ones for the end of the program here. But I'm going to show you how I do it. And like I say, I know there's 100 different ways that you can do stripers or fish and fillet them, but I'm going to show you how I do it. And like I say, I'm not saying this is the absolute only way you can do it, but I'm going to say, for me, this is the best way to do it. Now, you need your partner here, in this case, Phil. She's going to show you, she has a process that she has to deal with too. But, and I'm going to also say this admonishment. When you do this, you need to do this at your home if you're going to take the skin off. Arizona regulations require, if you're transporting them, say from the lake to your home, you have to leave skin on, a little piece of skin, so that they can identify the species and the number of fish that you have. We're going to assume at this point here in the studio today that we're at home. So we're going to take these stripers and take them right down to the pure meat fillets, okay? So here we go. What I do is I make an angle cut right here, and I'm going to come in and just come right down until I hit the backbone. As soon as I feel the backbone, I'm going to rotate the knife, following the backbone, and you go just like that. Do not cut through the end, because now you're just going to flop it over, come right back like that, and there you go. There's your fillet. Now, I'll show you this. Right here is the fillet. But notice the rib cage is right here. This is where your partner comes in. Okay, Phil, show them what you do with that rib cage
Okay.
to make this boneless.
First of all, I'm not left-handed, so I have to use this other hand.
Sure.
And the rib cage is right here, so you just take a knife and you just cut this right off. And there we have our fillet right there, ready to go.
That's a boneless striper fillet. Now, the color, I think, is pretty neat. If you look at the color of this fish, you see kind of a grayish tint in there. That's a sign of a real solid, good fish. When they start spawning, and you may see this on the bigger fish, they start getting stressed out. And the meat will actually turn kind of a white, rubbery looking. But look at this. I mean, look how clean that is. Now, I'm going to do the other side, do it the same way. And let's see, I take it till I feel the backbone at an angle, then I just follow the backbone, take it like that, turn it over, come, I'll move this so you can see this, come right at the back, take your blade, put it right on the skin, and go just like that. Whoop, stop blade. Okay, and again, I pass it over to my partner.
Now, I'm a city slicker, and I've never done this before in my whole life. And so then he tells me we have 69 fish to do this to.
We have 71, counting the catfish.
Right, 71 fish. So the first few I didn't do such a good job on, but I'm kind of learning.
And there you have it. Now, here's what a guy once told me, an old-time fisherman. He said if you fillet a fish correctly, you should literally be able to see through it, through the skeleton, see the skeleton in there. I think you can see it, at least I can.
I can.
And you can see it. You can look and you can see the backbone, and you can see the different bones coming above and beyond. So we've absolutely utilized every bit of that fish. There's no waste to it. It's all there. Every bit of fish that we could get that's edible, we got. Now, she is taking these rib cages off. Folks, right there is your fish that's ready to go. Now, what we do is we pack them in plastic bags for the trip home. But remember, now this is what you do at home. If I'm at the lake and I'm going to do this, I have to leave the skin on, a piece of skin, to do that. Now here's a little bit bigger one. We're going to do this again. I just go like that, come around, hit that backbone, use that, come over, take it, Bingo. Done. Turn around. Follow the backbone. Oh, got a little ambitious there. Follow it down to the bottom. You can throw it over like that. If you do this, it's no biggie. Come back here, get the fillet. You got that. That's pure boneless fillet. Now you can come in here. Phil's still going to be able to get those ribs out. And look at this. I mean, you look at this. This is the skin. There's no flesh on there. I mean, there's just a paper thin, and there's no scaling involved. You just do it like this, and there you go. Now, I'll tell you something I also like to do. A lot of people don't do this. Now, remember, we used anchovies primarily to catch these fish. I like to check what's in their stomach so I can see what they're feeding on. In this case, see this? Now, I see all anchovy in there. That's all anchovies that fish was eating. So when we chum with anchovies, which little pieces, this fish picked it up, it got it in the feeding mode, and then we caught it. Now, another thing that you can find out when you're looking at the fish, you can determine the sex of this fish. Now, in this case, I'm going to show you, this is a female. And here are her undeveloped egg sacs right here. This was a female fish. She hadn't spawned. And there's her egg sacs right there. She's got 2 of them. And that's how you can tell it's a female. Okay? So, we know this was a female fish. Again, we got that. Now, we're gonna get a little bigger fish. Let's see if the meat on this one's as gray and nice as that other one. Okay, you come in, follow that backbone like that, take it to there, flip it over. Now, you can see this meat is starting a little bit lighter. It's got a little bit of white in it. This fish is stressed out from spawning. Again, same way. But look at the size of the fillet.
Ooh.
Got a bigger fillet, okay?
It's my piece.
Nice. Same thing, flip it over. Come back. Follow that backbone. Take it right there. Come up, start at the back. And she gets that fillet. And again, we hold him up. Hold her up, actually. And we can see there's her egg sacs. See, these are more developed right here. Okay? So, we know this was a big female too. Now, don't worry about that you're hurting the fish population, folks. There's 2 to 7 million stripers in Lake Mead at any one time, so you're not going to hurt them. Okay, this is Phil's big fish. Here we go. That fillet knife goes through these things effortlessly. Come back. There she goes. Flip it over. And there you go. Again, look at this fish. You can see plumb through it. Okay? All right. Now look at the egg sacs on this one. This one was more developed. Wasn't the red. Now it has a little yellow in it. This one was starting to develop eggs right here. And notice the size difference in that. So that's what you got there. That was another female fish. Again, you can take the time, open up the stomach, and see what they're eating. But there it is. And here you go. Now, the limit on Lake Mead stripers, unlimited under 20 inches. If they're 20 inches or larger, 20 per night. You're not going to catch that many over 20. But look at this. 4 fish, and there's a sandwich bag completely filled with boneless fillets.
Am I taking that home?
No, we're giving that to Earl. Earl wants these.
Oh, okay.
Folks, that's how you do it when you're doing fillets. If you want to book a trip, go out here and catch a bunch of stripers, give me a call, 928-303-9481. Did you have a good trip?
I had a great time.
Thank you for
coming.
coming.
I will come again.
All right. This is Don Martin telling you until next week, Keep your fishing line fresh, your powder dry. We'll see you next week on Back at Camp.